won 3 CrossFit Games championships between the two of them. We start with 12 synchronized muscle-ups, and there is a lot you got to pay attention to here if you're an athlete on the rings.
So for these athletes, the synchronized muscle-up is not about doing them at the exact same time through the entire movement, not through the transition, but that the athletes are locked out at the top and that they are shown lockout at the bottom, at least at the same time. Now, if there's a no rep, which you see down Team Australia in yellow, if there's a no rep, they must come down at the rings and restart.
Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet and Michelle Alejandra for the Canadian team. They will be off the rings first. Latondra will move to the rower. Bazinet goes to the barbell. Now here come the Americans. Fouché on the rower. Emily Bridgers to the barbell.
And this is the component of this workout that we suspect is going to just put the most damage and wreck these athletes tonight. The weight on this bar is heavy. 275 pounds the athletes need to hold. So, if you're the athlete on the rower, you need to move fast because that time under tension is detrimental for the ladies holding the bar.
And some of these ladies, they're actually a lot shorter, so that the time it's going to take to get their 30 calories is going to be a big difference compared to the guys.
5 calories to go for both Julie Fouché and Michelle Latondra. Annie Thorisdottir on the right of your screen in the black shirt. She was the 3rd woman to the rower. Bridgers has dropped the barbell, meaning that Fouché has to stop rowing. Bridgers has now picked the barbell back up, so Fouché back working away on her 30 calories. Annie Thorisdottir has now caught up with both Latondra and Fouché, and Bridgers has the barbell down again, and now Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet dropping the barbell. Sam Briggs has been holding this thing the whole time for Europe, and that looks like it might allow them to take the lead here as Annie Thorisdottir cranks away on that rower.
The slowest portion for Annie and Sam, we suspected was going to be on the rings, but here these women are powerhouses with weight and they know how to move, and Sam looks too comfortable holding that barbell.
She's so strong, and then when you have a rower like Annie, I mean, she's so powerful, and not just powerful, but long. That's going to be easy.
And I'm surprised here Sam did break, but these women know that it is long, and Sam has to get on that rower next, so your grip is going to be definitely taxed here and shot, so there's a lot more work to be done in this workout.
The judges holding their hands in the air, they will tick off a finger every 6 calories. Thorisdottir back on the rower, and now she just has 6 to go. At the top of your screen, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet in the red is struggling, drops the bar. Michelle Latondra is almost done. Everyone with the bar down. Australia has. Thorisdottir is done. So the Europeans will be the first to the snatches, 135 pounds. The Canadian team done as well. They have to alternate every lift. 135 pounds on the barbell.
And 135 for these women should not be too bad. They can all do this, but it's after that hold. It's after what they just did. It's deceiving when they pick up that bar for the first couple just to get themselves situated before picking it up.
Emily Bridgers and Julie Fouché moving to the barbell for the Americans. Fouché had to go back and get some chalk, and now she's running back to the barbell. Cara Webb in the yellow at the bottom of your screen on her first snatch. So Australia trying to catch up with Canada and Europe.
And this event is my favorite so far, by far on paper, because this is where you finally get to see these individual athletes as a cohesive unit work together and these transitions. There's so many with the snatches that person has to be ready to pick that bar up because this can be won or lost here on the snatches.
Julie Fouché having to squat snatch that weight. The Canadians are done. Michelle Latondra and Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet moving on, and now Bazinet will strap into the rower, and it's Michelle Latondra who has to hold the 275-pound barbell. And here come the Europeans as Annie Thorisdottir has finished up her 10th snatch. And it's Sam Briggs now in the rower. The Americans with 3 to go. 6 points on the line in this event. Remember, the men will do this exact same workout with heavier weights once the women are done. Europe trying to keep pace with them, and now the Americans have moved on to their second row. Emily Bridges in the rower. Julie Fouché. This will be a heavyweight for Fouché at 275 pounds.
And it'll be the next set of snatches where both women are now going to feel the effects of the deadlift.
If you look up at the top of your screen, Sam Briggs in the black, Camille in the red. Look how fast Camille has to cycle over just with that shorter length of her legs versus Sam's long legs. That's actually going to save a lot of time. Sam is going to get a lot more on the pull, which is going to make the time that Andy is going to be under that tension a lot shorter.
It's true, and you know, Camille, even on the rower, just doesn't look as comfortable. She doesn't utilize that leg length even as much as she can.
Julie Fouché is back on the barbell. Michelle Letendre back on the barbell. The Americans trying to make up some ground as Emily Bridges is pulling for all she is worth on that rower. She is in the blue on the right of your screen. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet in the red for Team Canada. As well as Sam Briggs and Annie Thorstad working together. And Danae Brown on the rower for the Australians. The Europeans are done, and Sam Briggs and Annie Thorstad, 10 snatches at 135 before they will hand off to the men. Europe needs points here if they want to get back into this competition.
And this is the powerhouse duo of females in this workout. Right now, they're not giving up. They are the queens of the Team Europe, and they're here to show us that.
Annie Thorstad, the 2011 and 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games champion. Sam Briggs, the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games champion. Now, the Canadian duo of Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet and Michelle Letendre are onto the barbell.
And right there, smart communication. Letendre was going to pick up the bar first. She wasn't ready. Camille said, I'll get the first one. Things like that, that's going to make a difference.
They have to tag hands after every rep, too. It's attention to detail here. You miss that, it could cost you precious seconds. But it's the European team that leads. Canada sits in second. The United States trying to hold off Australia for third. Mads Jacobsen, the Europe coach, looking on. And the European women will be first across the finish line, and now the men will get to work. Lucas Holmberg and Bjorgvin Gudmundsson on the rings for 12 synchronized muscle-ups as the Canadians trying to finish up their 10 snatches. Gudmundsson is on the left, Lucas Holmberg on the right. The two men who made their CrossFit Games debuts this year. The women of Europe gave them a heck of a lead to work with here, but they will have some very talented men trying to chase them down. The Canadian women are done. Lucas Parker and Paul Tremblay will now hop up on the rings. And the American women working on their 10 snatches. The Canadian team came in with 11 total points, 5 points to make up ground. They can't concede any more points to the Canadians if they want to win the 2014 Reebok CrossFit Invitational presented by HGST. And now Gudmundsson and Hogberg are on their first 30-calorie row. It's Hogberg on the barbell, Gudmundsson on the rower.
And these rookies right now need to showcase themselves. They need to keep their lead. The women, I mean, they had the princesses of CrossFit give them this gigantic lead. They cannot let this go right now. They have to stay consistent. And this event's going to be, are they going to be able to hold onto that bar the whole time? We saw earlier that really affected the women. How is that going to affect the men?
And it affected women who had a lot more experience in high-level competitions than these gentlemen do.
Lucas Parker is on the rower for the Canadians. Paul Tremblay on the barbell. The American women have just finished up, so now Rich Froning and Jason Kalipa will get started on their 12 synchronized muscle-ups.
And I'll tell you, those two guys were itching to go. They saw Team Canada, Team Europe go, and Rich and Jason just were itching to get on those rings.
They are going to have to stomp the gas here if they want to catch Europe and Canada. Paul Tremblay has put the barbell down for the Canadians. Lucas Parker has stopped rowing. And now the Europeans are done. So Bjorgvin Gudmundsson and Lucas Holmberg moving on to the 185-pound barbell, 10 snatches, and they have to alternate every time. Tremblay has the bar back up. Parker is rowing, and here come the Americans. Rich Froning into the rower first. as the Europeans work away at those 10 reps, and Jason Khalipa will hold the 405-pound barbell.
Now, if you had to put two people on a deadlift in a row out of any country on the planet, these would be the two guys. They are both extremely strong, just heavy movers in general, so there's their deadlift part. And anytime there's ever been a row anywhere, Jason has crushed that. So between him and Rich on the rower and on the deadlift, if anyone's going to go unbroken here, it's going to be these two.
Paul Tremblay just dropped the barbell, and he's going to get some chalk as Lucas Parker rests. The Europeans, meanwhile, the tandem of Björkman Gudmundsson and Lucas Högberg, are maintaining the lead that Annie Thorisdottir and Sam Briggs built. Lucas Högberg into the rower, 30 calories for him, and Björkman Gudmundsson will grab the 405-pound barbell. Jason Khalipa in the red shorts on the left of your screen, picking back up the barbell, and Froning getting to work on the row. And now the Canadian men moving to the 185-pound barbell, and Paul Tremblay has one rep in the books, but it's the Europeans in the lead.
Super impressed with those guys. The Europeans are just young, yes, but they are doing incredibly well right now, keeping that lead, not getting frustrated. They have no one to look at, and they're just in their zone, and maybe that was a good thing for them. Yeah,
they look really feisty, and you know what? There's nothing right now. They're sitting with two goose eggs. They need this, so great to see them turn around and get it together. And in this team element, there's another event where they're going to have to come together as a team. It looks like they know how to work together.
Högberg and Gudmundsson are clearly in the lead. Behind them, Canada and the United States fighting for second. Rich Froning and Jason Khalipa look like they've been able to cut into the lead that Canada has for second place. One final snatch for Lucas Parker, and now the Canadians back to the rower. But Jason Khalipa will strap into the rower next, and as Bill said, he can row. Don't be surprised if he yanks the chain out of this thing as he just looks to stomp the gas. Froning on the 405-pound bar.
And the girls from the American team actually came back to the base of the rower because Jason pulled so hard they got kicked off, and now the judge, if you look at the judge's foot, it's sitting on the base of the rower for Jason's rower, because look how incredibly hard he's yanking that thing. Again, it's not the prettiest, and if you talk to any rower, they would be saying, do not pull that handle up your neck like that. But when you have a beastly strong man like Jason, he's going to do what he needs to do, and he's going to rip that thing to shreds.
And he's going to be just fine doing it too.
Froning has put the weight down. Khalipa has to stop rowing. Parker has the weight down as well. The Europeans are going to win this event and rack up 6 points. It's important for the Americans to get ahead and reach in the final event. 4 points for second place, 2 for third. The Americans get 4. They will have 10. The Canadians, if they finish third, will have 13. 6 points in the final event. This is a huge race for second place between the Americans and the Canadians. And now the Australians on their first set of snatches, and the Europeans racking up the win and 6 points. But this, in the big picture, is the battle that matters. Khalipa and Froning have taken the lead. 10 snatches at 185. Lucas Parker and Paul Tremblay are done. Now the crowd on its feet here in these final 10 snatches.
In the first set of 10, Jason and Rich were able to make up a little bit of distance. They made up about 2 reps distance. Now they're behind, or now they're ahead, and that's exactly what Lucas and Paul do not want.
But now Tremblay, he can get the bar and rip it. But Lucas Parker, with his Olympic lifting background, he likes his setup. He likes him to be a little more composed. It's going to be interesting to see if he can maintain these or if he falls apart.
The USA chant is raining down here at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. 1 rep to go for Khalipa and Froning. Jason Khalipa locking that out, and the United States will finish second, and they are still alive here at the Invitational. Tremblay and Parker locking up a third-place finish, and it's Rob Forte and Con Porter still on the floor for the Australians, so they will get shut out as far as points go, so they will sit at 5. But the Americans setting themselves up for a showdown with the Canadians in the final of the Canadians will have 13.
That was the event that they needed. They needed a rowing and a heavyweight movement for the Americans to do well. That's exactly where they did well. They needed that. Again, it wasn't where the Europeans were, but the Europeans currently kind of out of the realm. So that's not anything that they need to worry about. Great job on them. Man, powerhouse group. Powerhouse group.
And it was Sam and Annie that got it started for Europe. They set that pace, got ahead of everyone, and the gentlemen were able to hold on to that lead, even with Jason Khalipa and Ridge Froning coming from behind. Super impressive for this team.
And we knew the first 3 events for the Europeans probably weren't in their wheelhouse. This one, though, was. And Sam and Annie, anything where you just have to just showcase your engine, they're going to do very well at that. They handed off a big lead to Goop. 8 points.
Didn't have big names.